What's going on, y'all? It's Jason More Reviews here, back at it again with another video. As you guys see by the title, bringing you guys today a wish list of the top battles that I would love to see in 2023. We're in a little bit of a dead zone right now with Battle Rap. There's a lot of 2022 wrap up going on, Champion of the Year picking up. Obviously, a lot of people putting work in towards what happened at the end of the December and getting all that content together. We haven't really gotten any new battle rap cards, or for looks like for the foreseeable, first half of January, maybe the first, 3/4 until we get to the outside card on the 28th. So with all that being said, I thought this would be a good time just to give you guys a little perspective on battles that I personally would love to have. The way we're going to do this is I'm just going to do 5 battles, as I usually do on this channel. It's top fives everywhere. So I'm going to do 5 battles that I really want to see in 2023. I also am going to make them rather realistic. So I'm just going to say it out there. For those of you that are looking for Geechee versus Hitman, Rum Nitty versus Conceited, you know what I'm saying? Anything of that nature. I'm not really doing the god tier stuff on this list just because we know the headache it looks like. So I'm really thinking of still top talents. Maybe they're considering a name that you would feel as god tier, but we're looking at stuff that I really think can be booked within the year of 2023 and are good to book right now. So before we get into that, we're going to do an honorable mention where we're going to talk about a few battlers that I would like to see pop out as opposed to specific matchups. And then for the top 5, we'll get into the more, specific matchups that I'd love to see. So without further ado, let's talk about some of the battles that I would like to see in 2023. So, starting off in this honorable mention area, first battler that I would love to see come out in 2023 is Lux. Lux talked a lot about, after his loss to Geechee last year, he talked about coming out possibly 2 or 3 more times. We all know when it comes to the god tiers like the Luxes and the Mooks, there's always matchups for them to take. It always comes down to money and really just how willing they are to be outside. In 2022, Loaded Lux not come outside. The most we got is kick-ups about the Daylight battle that we've had for the past 5+ years. I haven't cared about that battle in a long time personally. If you guys do, no problem with that. It's a humongous heavyweight pen matchup, but they're kind of selling us fool's gold with that. So I think that there's plenty of matchups that Lux can take. Particularly pen-wise, he's a pen, considered the GOAT pen by many, but kind of doesn't battle the other pens. Obviously, B-Dot walked away from the sport as of right now. Thought that would have been a great matchup, but even past that, JC, Rum Nitty, I think are 2 great pens. JC stock is down right now, but Nitty's there. If it's not one of those 3 pens, I just feel like there's still great battlers. If it's not a Tay-Rock, there's just a million Kshines, Hitmans. It sounds like it doesn't make sense in the moment, but him and Geechee, we didn't see that coming. He just battled someone that's been great in the modern era for many years, and I just want to keep seeing him do that. It doesn't have to be a big storyline or made-up story, another god tier for history. I just want to see a really great battler battle Lux and just see how he furthers against other styles. So for me, would love to see Lux pop back outside. Secondly, I want to see a Verb versus top tiers. Now, what I mean by that is that while Verb has one of the most extensive resumes, we could see by his choices last year, battles in there. Even if you consider some of these battlers top tier, Pass, KCJ, Kid Chaos. He talks a lot in the spaces. I know it's part of his promo, and he did battle easy, but he throws the shots at like 9 million people. But in terms of the battles people really want to see, Verb versus Av, Verb versus JC, those guys that have been at him for a minute, Verb versus Nitty, that we feel are some of the top guys that need those shots. I just think it would be dope for Verb to pop out for one of them. Obviously, he just took Suge at the end of last year. I think that's working in the right direction. We want to see the more easy and Suge type matchups and less of the miscellaneous in between where you're only going to talk shit to show up halfway for the battle and then the footage is a little like a Chaos and Verb situation. So for me, I think Verb as a god tier is a good look for battle rap. He promos like a god tier. I think if he really charges up in a way and keeps his material just for the other, big time matchups, he could pop out 3 or 4 times a year and have great battles in each of those. But it just depends on how he goes about it. And for me, he's still a very vital piece in battle rap structure. And I think that there's a better way to give back as that piece of the structure. So we'll love to see Verb versus a couple top tiers that we personally want to see, not just random people he's calling out. And lastly, for the honorable mentions, would love to see B-Dot return in 2023. As I said, these aren't specific matchups. These are just guys that I want to see back before we get into the specifics. And lastly, like I said, B-Dot doesn't look like he's coming back in the foreseeable future, but he's just so talented. In terms of small room, might be the best small room battler in the world. That's debatable, obviously, as is most things in battle rap, but his talent is undeniable. He's a million matchups still out here that he could do on all types of different stages: small room, big room, mid tier, up and comers, top tiers, grudge matches. There's just a lot more career to be had from that great talent. So, B. Dot, A Verb, Lux, I think you're both three very talented individuals, and would love to see you guys step out for some of those higher heavyweight clashes. And with all that being out of the way, talking about the people that might not really battle this year, but I would love to see return, let's get into the 5 matchups that I think we need to see in 2023. So at number 5, the first battle I want to talk about, one of these, at one point, it was kind of the matchup of the tournament winners. Now one of them is saying that he'd only taken in the light work, but I think JC versus Bill Collector is just a real good battle you could pin on most cards, but especially a volume card. And I think as a matchup would be great for 2023. When you think about Bill, he's back on the brand. It looks like he's about to go through a slew, the gauntlet of just URL top tiers, all types of different heavyweight matchups, as well as giving some shots to a Sheet Happens, things of that nature. And obviously, him and JC have been a lot of slander towards JC from Bill. His tourney run was better. Then obviously JC lost to Surf and Hustle. So now he's saying you guys act like that's a big matchup. I'd only take JC in a light work. It's a little bit of ridiculousness. Even in a slump that JC was in on the back half of 2022, he's still a top-tier talent, and he's going to need a bounce-back battle. He's going to need a 3-round real bounce-back. His career's in a bit of purgatory right now. Not that anything like drastic is going to happen. His career's going to end, but there's not that many matches for JC left. He's battled most of them, and to have just taken the biggest battle of your career, having battled most of the top tiers, and now your stock is at one of the lowest it's ever been, this is the time to have a great bounce back performance against another top tier who's proven himself recently. The tournament versus tournament is there. Both of them rap extremely well, complex material. I'd say Bill obviously has him a little bit on the performance side, but depending if it happened on the stage, JC's stage presence has risen to the occasion, and in a volume, I think both of them would be great. I think no matter where you book this, it's just good top tier versus top tier. When you look at what makes sense for both of them next, I just think that this is a regular clash they should have. And for me, even if it's not a big time main event headliner, you could throw this on the base of a gnome, a volume, anything at the base of it, and it's just going to be a good, if not great, battle on that card. So for that reason, and just realistically, like I said, their trajectories match up. I think JC versus Bill will be a great battle for this year. And from there, we can get right into the number 4 spot, more on the headliner side. And that's where I have Easy the Block Captain versus Charlie Clipse. Now, with Easy, there's really a bunch of matchups you could throw in. I'd love Easy versus Suge. I'd love Easy versus Geechee. I think Easy versus John or DNA this year would be dope. I think he could take 4 or 5 battles and just get more top tiers, a couple more god tiers, and build maybe finally that Cody winning case that he's kind of inevitably going to have one of these years. But especially versus Clipse, a lot of people say when it comes to who could really beat Easy, who has a chance, a motivated Clipse for 3 rounds, particularly on a stage, is one of the hardest battle rappers to beat in the history of the game when he truly cares and he has the crowd in the palm of his hands, and he's saying schemes and angles and landing explosive haymakers, freestyles. He just is the everything guy. He is the entertainer for us, if you had to categorize him. And I think that when you look at a streak like Easy's, that I've said many times reminds me of early 2010 Clipse, where he's just winning clear back-to-back against great talent. You don't do that in the sport. You don't get 9 clear wins versus Kshine, Cal, Goods, you know what I'm saying, T-Top. But he's been doing that, and who better to put him against than one of the most dangerous battle rappers, if not the most dangerous battle rapper when prepped in the history of the sport. Blockbuster, Clipse is following. Easy's built a humongous following in a short amount of time. Easy. Summer Madness battle. I don't even really know. You could book an unknown, but for me, this is an SM battle, and if not a main event, a co-main event. It's just big time, and like I said, you could swap in Easy versus Suge on this list. That's a hard matchup. Easy versus Rum Nitty, if that comes up. There's plenty of guys. Easy versus Geechee Gotti, the real talk versus the real talk. But for me, when we talk about the best streak versus a guy who also had possibly the best streak, you could get some really special battle rap from the all-around perspective, and that's why I would love to see Easy versus Clipse in 2023. And then from there, we crack into the top 3, and obviously, as I always say, the top 3 of my list, top 5s are always good, but 4 and 5 can be tosses up for some things that could happen, could not happen, a little bit of perspective, what I think maybe you guys would like, or, add a little bit of parody, but this top 3 are 3 battles that genuinely I'd probably be a little bit pissed if they didn't go down this year. And at number 3, a battle that should have went down in 2022, we have Av versus Hollow to Dawn. This is Av's god tier shot. He's way overdue for it. I've talked about it in this channel millions of times. The fact that Av is this deep into his career as good as he is, with no Tay-Rock, Sue Surf, Calico, Hollow Dodon, or Averb battle, is absurd to me. He's in a million of views arguing with Averb. He's called out Calico. He's got beef there with Rock from being in the squad with him. The Surf battle never really just came to be, even though Surface thrown shots at Av, but Av just needs an opportunity versus the top level guy once again to just show that he is one of the best and, to climb that ladder. Eventually, when you're a top tier like that, if the God tiers don't step out and you've battled a lot of your regular base top tier peers, you kind of get put in a situation like Av did where he wants to leave. There is no climbing the ladder. You're just having me giving shots. Some of these battles won't motivate him after a while. So I think him and Hollow probably won't happen on URL if it does happen, but I know Hollow's not going to duck the smoke. He's actually one of the few God tiers that does seem to come out for the top tiers to climb the ladder, no matter the style or promo behind it. But I think this is a great matchup, great style clash, and extremely overdue for Av. This could be, one of those just... It's a Hollow battle. What can you say? It's a spectacle for him to pop out. You're going to get one of the most motivated Avs, who's already one of the most consistent battlers. And Hollow is trending in the right direction after his Geechee performance. Looks like he's getting back into form and learning modern-day battle rap and how to integrate and adapt to that. So Av versus Hollow, already pissed it didn't happen in 2022. It is a must for 2023. And from there, on my top two, someone that is planning on leaving URL. It's not fully in the works yet, obviously. But when he does, I would love to see Kshine, probably an RBE, but anywhere, Kshine versus A-Ward. A-Ward has been running the gauntlet, the big thing is, A-Ward coming to URL. It's a very big talking point. A lot of the casual part of the fan base, really a lot of battle rap always talks about it. And why we say that is because people feel like Ward doesn't see good competition off URL, which isn't true. It's just not true. But for him to see Shine, it would just be another one of those big ones, like the Geechee battle, like the Will battle, like the Nitty battle, and then Kshine, where he's just fighting bona fide legends that no one is going to debate if they're good, if they're not. All of a sudden, you battle A-Ward, you're good. You battle A-Ward off URL, and people act like, oh, they're not trying, so it doesn't count. Ridiculousness. Nobody is going to do that with a Kshine battle, obviously, especially with the way that he's leaving URL. And I think it's also a great style clash for Ward. I think in terms of just barking on him as a pure performer, he's faced great performers. He's faced, Ill Will is one of those, but Kshine, especially if it's on a stage, is a very powerful, bark on you type of battler. He's like that in a small room as well. I just assume a max out or something of that nature. He battled Kshine, but no matter the room or setting that he battles him in, this is dope. I think Ward has the ability to beat him. I might have Ward beating him going in. I don't know. I'd have to break it all down, but I do believe the angling and kind of the craftsmanship and tacticianness of Ward might be able to outsmart the straight just power performer and chain puncher that Kshine is. Very possible for Shine to win that battle. Probably would be favored if it went down. So for all those reasons, just talking it out loud, it sounds like a great style clash. It sounds blockbuster, and it sounds like two of the best in the world battling. We want more Shine. We want to see A-Ward keep battling the best, and for that reason, I would love to see A-Ward versus Kshine in 2023. And that brings us into the last battle, the battle that me personally, like I said, this is just my little personal top 5 of what I want. I think a lot of you guys would like these matchups too. But if I was doing it just off the community, there might be a couple different ones I throw in here. But at number 1, this is a battle for me that doesn't have a lot of talk behind it, but I think I've just been wanting forever. And that battle is Rum Nitty versus Calico. Now, I'd mentioned Nitty's name. You heard me a couple times in this list talking about someone easy could battle down the line, someone Verb could battle down the line. But while it would be cool if those battles happened, Nitty versus Calico is the battle that I think we could check off and just is the best matchup here. Calico and Nitty specifically in a small room. Like I said, with any of these battles, when you get to this level of talent, small room or big room, these guys can produce great battles. But when it comes to Nitty and Cal, I think that Nitty, just in terms of line for line, bar for bar in a small room, is revered as one of the best, if not the best, small room battlers. And Cal is one of the best small room battlers, but for a completely different reason. His real talk and pure rapping. As you can see, mostly during the pandemic era, I think him versus Verb is a great example of it. When he gets to rap fluidly and get into that real talk kind of bag, it's not a lot of just punching, not a lot of one-liners or entendres, but there's so much substance to it. He really makes you feel his delivery, kind of puts you in the position, puts you in his shoes. Really great imagery, which is underrated in battle rap. I feel like Cal and Reed Dollars are great with that. And I just think it's an amazing style clash. Typically, real talk overcomes, like very substance-filled real talk beats a puncher. But with that being said, we're talking about the best puncher who has punched through Real Talk before. Two of the best in the world at what they do. You could be the best Real Talk battler, the best puncher, a million different reasons that, obviously it's heavyweight. It's, top level versus top level. And I think sometimes in battle rap, when the best versus the best, that's just when you get great battles. There's not a ton of promo. I mean, Nitty and Cal have traded shots, but it doesn't have a lot of, build up right now where it's like, oh, that's a battle. They've been trading shots. Oh, it's been rumored for this card, but it hasn't been booked before in the lockdown card. Definitely neither of them are scared to take the battle by any means, and especially Nitty coming off a great year, Cal coming off another, good year in the books, 3 or 4 battles. I just think that these are two guys that still love the competitive aspect of battle rap, and they look at each other as threats, and it'll bring the best out of each other. So for me, Rum Nitty versus Calico is possibly a classic waiting to happen, and it's the battle that I really hope that we get in 2023. And that is my full assessment, for me, for the wish list of battles in 2023. You guys let me know down below in the comments below. Obviously, we're all going to have different picks, so I'd love to hear what you guys would have to say. Love to go back and forth. And also let me know what you think of these matchups. Like I said, a big thing for me is realism. I could see JC versus Bill Collector being on the undercard of if it's not a volume, it could be one of their in-betweenish events, like a resolution that's still treated like a big event, but it's not a NOM or an SM. But either way, that's just a good battle. Two guys I think trajectory-wise meet up. Av, overdue for a god-tier play, already exchanged with Hollow. Ward and Kshine. If Shine's off URL, how many plays does he really have? Ward, like I said in my Kshine book, if you guys haven't checked that out, the Ward battle is probably the best skill-wise battle he can take. So just all over the place. There's a bunch of things that could happen this year. It's so fun when we get to January and we just think over the next 11 and a half months, how much can we get? How many great battles can we get? What type of big-time blockbuster matchups? We already had Easy versus Hitman announced, as well as Ill Will versus Hollow. So we're off to a great start. I just hope we can continue that and get some of these matchups that I would love and some of the matchups that you guys would love. So looking forward to hopefully another very good, very powerful year in battle rap in 2023. But as I said, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down below the matchups that you guys would love in 2023. And it's been J Smo Reviews again, y'all. I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.